Hey, what's up friends? I'm Darkoburi the Collector. Welcome to this new weekly video where we'll have the 7 deadly sins here on the Darkoburi channel. Like I mentioned, for this week's video we have 2 mega pieces from the 7 deadly sins. And the surprise for all of you is that they're from the company Tsume. That's right, here's the logo of this mega company Tsume, but they're bringing us this smaller line, which are figures about the size of Banpresto, around 15 to 20 centimeters. But honestly, they're amazing figures. So, we're going to do the unboxing of 2 great pieces. Here we have King and over here we have Ban. If you've seen the 7 deadly sins, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if not, go check it out on Netflix. It's there for you to watch the whole series. And honestly, it's spectacular. And if you're still not sure, you can also check out my channel to see the unboxing we did of the Rita presentation, which is S-Gainer's Divine Axe. So without further ado, let's analyze the box so you can see this new Tsume line. And let's get to what you care about most, the unboxing and presentation of both pieces. To start off this mega unboxing, we're going to unbox King first. Like I said, what you need to look for is the Tsume company logo down here at the bottom. And you'll also find it on this other side. And on the back we have the Tsume logo, which tells us our piece is original. But let's look at this side. Check out that it says Xtra by Tsume, which is the line they're releasing of slightly smaller figures. If you remember, the first unboxing that kicked off this whole adventure was a death mask of cancer from Tsume, which was honestly impressive, and those figures usually measure about 60, 70, even up to 80 centimeters depending on the piece. But Tsume wanted to take a risk by making these much smaller pieces, and as a collector, let me tell you something. I couldn't get them from the Tsume website because, honestly, the shipping from France to here in Mexico was really expensive. The figure itself was cheaper than the shipping, even when buying several figures at once, so I decided to wait for a local supplier to bring them and so I could get them. And now I have them right here in my powerful hands. Here we can also see, for example, the figure as it appears in the anime of King. And on the back, we see King's poster, and once again, we see the same character. If you've seen the 7 deadly sins, then you already know what we're talking about. But if you haven't, let me explain. There are 7 characters, and obviously, each one represents a different deadly sin. When they're introduced, they're shown with these wanted posters, but honestly, none of the posters actually matched what the character looked like. If you watch the series, King appears on the poster looking all chubby, and later on, they explain why that is. In the same way, here they also do some favors for the main character, Meliodas, who is the Dragon of Wrath. They really help him out a lot. But I was expecting to see in this part maybe the poster from the series where King, who is the sin of sloth, looks chubbier. That's why here we have him as the sin of sloth. And it's the sloth. Let's see here. Oh no, it's the grizzly of sloth. So now, without further ado, we've already seen the box. We've seen King's symbol. We've seen the character. So now let's get to what matters most. Let's check out the figure, the details, the color, and the close-ups of King here on the Darkoburi channel. And now, here we have the King figure, and the first thing to notice is the base. When we had the lumber from the Tsume mega pieces, it was a real struggle to attach the base. But here it's actually really simple, and that's a detail I really appreciate. Here, you can actually see the name of the company, and it clearly says the 7 deadly sins, which is the anime you can look up to watch this awesome series. Here, King is the Fairy King. There are quite a few clans, the fairies, then there's the gods, the demons, and several others like the giants. King is someone who's in love with a giant, and since he's a fairy who's actually pretty tiny, people say that's not really common. But he's on a journey to become a truly magnificent fairy king, and as he evolves in the anime, new powers start to emerge. But at first, this is how we find him. Just take a look. The figure is honestly really awesome and super accurate, just like in the anime. We start by looking at King's hair, which is kind of a light brown, and his eyes are a light brownish color too. Honestly, that's always how he looks. He's got this little hairstyle, very much like a little kid, which makes sense because, like I said, they portray fairies, and some fairies are shown as a bit shorter compared to, for example, the human clan or the demon clan. Here we also have the part on his cheeks. Let's do a really close up, a super cool one. He's blushing, just like every time he talked to Diane. He'd get embarrassed and blush a lot. It's a really nice detail they added to this figure. He's only blushing on his cheeks, and aside from that, his face is really smooth. We're showing off the hoodie here, which has its little hood, and you can see it's brown, then blue, and then kind of an aqua green. But just check out the detail on each of the buttons. They look like screws. Every button on the front looks like a screw, and the drawstrings on the hoodie are fixed in place. But they also have this really unique detail. On the back, there's a small cross, and it's also made out of screws. We'll do a close-up so you can see it. There are 4 screws placed on the back, and that's the only accessory it has exclusively on the back. No one else has it. The whole hoodie is plain, and it comes with these slightly short pants that go just below the knees, and they're blue. The shoes also match the hoodie, and they have this part that's kind of yellowish, brownish on them. One of the interesting details is that it has the sloth bear tattoo right here. Honestly, it's really well designed, even though it's very small in size. We'll see that it's an exact reproduction of this same tattoo. Let's remember that all the 7 deadly sins have the tattoo on different parts of their bodies. Each one had it in a different place. For example, Meliodas had it on his arm, and here we see King has it on his leg. In a moment, we'll look at Ban's tattoo, and each one represents an animal and obviously a deadly sin. But the interesting thing about the series is that the 7 deadly sins were the good guys, and the 10 commandments were the bad guys. That's something that's really cool. And the other thing we see is this. Here he has the sacred spear Chastiful, which, if you remember, could transform into a lot of different things. If you remember all the things it could transform into, leave a comment below. It has a lot of transformations, and honestly, having it first as a pillow or like a dog, since it would change between a dog and a fighting bear. Really, Chastiful showed a lot of very interesting things, like when it transformed into the sunflower, for example. I won't give you any more spoilers. Go watch the series, leave a comment, and let us know everything with Chastiful's spear. But here, I'll leave it for you so you can see the whole piece, including the spear, cool and fits right into this part. If you look closely, he's not holding it. It gets embedded in his leg and goes all the way down here. But I'll leave you all the details so you can check them out here on Darkboo's channel. And now that we've seen one of the 7 deadly sins here, let me introduce you to the second one, who's also a really, really cool character. When Meliodas was already in hell, he's the one who goes and gets him out so he can keep fighting by his side. We're talking about Ban, the fox's sin of greed. So Ban here, plus each of them could have their own sacred treasure. Each one had their own special ability. If you remember all the abilities, I'll give you a tip, like Meliodas' counterattack. Leave it in the comments. It's pretty unique to know each of the attacks that all the 7 deadly sins had. And of course, you also have to say which one was your favorite. A lot of people are probably going to say Merlin was their favorite, but that's kind of obvious. Tell me which one you like besides Meliodas. Personally, I love Ban for his power to steal things from others. And here, we're going to have some art again. We've got some art here, and in the back, we've also got some art. Why do we do that? To check that our piece is original, and we have the extra by some line, like I mentioned. And here we have the representation of the sin, which is the fox of greed. Here we have Ban, who drank the water that gave him immortality, and he could recover from any of his wounds in record time. It's something that's pretty unique in the series. Ban always had these poses where he kept his hands in his pockets. It's something he always did, and it's something we're going to see in this piece. And here we have the wanted poster, but what Tsume does with their posters is put the representation of their piece. Good job, Tsume, but I was expecting something else, like seeing how they were represented in the series with the posters, so you could see that they weren't actually depicted as the 7 deadly sins. But let me introduce you to Ban, the fox of greed, here on the Darkoburi channel. And now, here we have Ban, the fox of greed. Honestly, the figure is really, really awesome. What I didn't like is that it's pretty tilted. I mean, yeah, he's kind of hunched over like we saw, but here the figure is leaning quite a lot. And the other thing is that the base is, let's say, square, so you can move Ban around however you want. There's no correct way to place him on the base. The first mistake I made, let's take a look, was that I put him like this, so he's even more hunched over. And now the piece starts to wobble. I had to turn the figure around quite a few times. Once I got it to fit, I said, let's put it on. And this is how I think it should go, this way, so it's not so tilted. Because supposedly he's stepping on this part of the chains. Looking at the figure, it's really just the base. Here we have some represented again, which is the extra by some part. Here we have the diorama showing the moment when Van is freed for the first time. He was a prisoner, and there was a fight going on, and that's when he comes out wearing these clothes. So, he's always wearing these really, really tight clothes, like they didn't really fit him, but oh well. Here, check out Van's hair. It's blue and really spiky. In one part of the series, he even shows up with a lot of beard, but that only lasts for almost nothing, just one episode, and then right away he shaves and cuts his hair. But honestly, here it looks really, really cool. Another cool thing, check out the color of Van's eyes. Honestly, the way the piece is represented, the figure, the detailing, the color, it's all really, really awesome. You can also see that in the wound he has here. He has a scar here on this part of his neck, which, if you remember, is from before he started drinking that water that gave him eternal life, which, after making some deals, he eventually loses. And he's wearing this shirt, well, this jacket in red. Let's say it's a metallic red that's really, really cool, totally sexy. And it has all these studded symbols that go all around the neck, on the shoulders, and here on the sleeves, all the way down to the bottom part here. Check out how he's a really, really slim character, and they represent that really well here, from the jawline profile to everything you can see on his chest and how both his back and shoulders are so well defined here. Honestly, he's always been a pretty slim character. He's not like a Skener, who kept getting more and more muscular, and his pants match the style of his jacket, red. He has his hands in his pockets, really well represented with all these little studs and even marks that go all the way down, almost to ankle height. The shoes are also really well polished, red. Honestly, we give them a 100. The shoes are super cool. And the way the pants crease as they reach the shoes, even here, you can see that because he's slim, all this part is defined, as well as his abdomen. In this part, let's open up his jacket so you can see. This is where he has his tattoo. Check it out, it's right here under his ribs, and that's where he has the same Fox of Greed tattooed. But the tattoo here on the figure is honestly pretty faint. You can barely see it, not like the tattoo our other buddy King has. And here it is. The truth is, the series is really, really good. It has some pretty sexy touches, honestly. They're done well, nothing unpleasant, but the story itself is really complete. The characters develop. Like I said, here's Ban, who could steal everything with his power. He also had a weapon, some nunchucks, and a lot of other things. Ban, who in the end, we thought didn't have a heart, but in the end, we see he's also a wolf, a lovesick fox. So with that in mind, I will now gracefully take my leave and allow you, the esteemed viewer, to fully immerse yourselves in the truly captivating and incredibly detailed close-up examination of Ban, our fascinating subject, right here on the one and only Darkoburi Some Here channel, which is dedicated to bringing you unique and engaging content. I sincerely hope you thoroughly enjoy this particular segment and find it both informative and visually appealing, as we strive to deliver the highest quality viewing experience for our dedicated audience. And now it's time for you to tell us which of the two figures you liked more. Honestly, I have to go with the Ban figure. The detailing on the studs is just super cool. King is also spectacular though. But yeah, honestly, I'm sticking with Ban. Also, let me know in the comments if you've watched the whole series and which fight was your favorite. For me, the lines, I'm going to be like my little kids who know all the dialogues by heart. It's when Skener fights Esterasa. He hits him, and then Esterasa says nothing happened to him, but suddenly he drops to his knees. And Skener, being the sin of pride, asks him, "What happened? Did you find a coin or why are you kneeling down?" Honestly, that was an amazing scene. And everything that happens after that with Cruel Sun is just awesome. And so you're not left wanting more from the 7 deadly sins. I'm going to show you a third figure from the same company as last week, which is Pop-Up Parade, and to everyone's surprise, it's Elizabeth. I haven't mentioned her because she's not one of the 7 deadly sins. Remember, there was Diane, King, Ban, Meliodas, and there was the goat, the one who was the puppet. I'll remember the name in a moment. And then there's her. Elizabeth isn't a sin. We'll talk about her in a bit. We're going to do the unboxing of this Elizabeth figure from Pop-Up Parade here as a third complimentary unboxing. An extra for you here on the Darkoburi channel. So let's get started. We've already analyzed the Pop-Up Parade box in another video, which honestly, tells you that the figures are between 15 and 17 centimeters tall. And here we bring you Elizabeth from the Seven Deadly Sins. Remember, she starts out as just a princess when King Bartra was sick, and she goes out in search of the Seven Deadly Sins. So she goes looking for them, and the first one she meets, obviously, is the captain, Meliodas, the Dragon of Wrath. That's where the sexy part starts, because Meliodas starts playing a lot of pranks on Elizabeth, like giving her the dress so she can work at the tavern. But this is how Elizabeth is usually dressed. She's one of the king's daughters, one of the princesses. Later on, she gets a more golden eye, which is why she always keeps it covered, and she becomes someone who belongs to the goddess clan. She's bound to Meliodas by both a blessing and a curse. They'll always find each other. But after she falls in love with Meliodas, she's destined to die 3 days later. And that's something the Demon King and the Supreme Goddess, the leader of the goddess clan, did to them. That curse is what the whole series is about. So here we're going to show you the base first. Remember, we've seen it in transparent before, and honestly, I really like this transparent effect, a kind of purple color. And here obviously is the description from Popo, and of course, also about the 7 deadly sins. As I mentioned, Elizabeth is always shown with one eye covered, until she awakens the goddess's power. Here, her bangs completely cover one eye, the other fully visible. Her hair has a muted green, sort of mint color. If you know the exact color or Pantone match, leave it in the comments. To me, it looks like a grayish green. Check out how one of her hands is uncovered, posed in a way that's kind of ladylike, and she's got this arm covered with a sleeve that's, let's say, a bit bluish in color. On the opposite leg, that's the one that's covered, but it looks a bit more black. This part that she has on her leg, the dress or blouse she's wearing is also blue, and it just has a little pink bow here in the front. You can also see a bit of blush on her cheek here in the front, which you can actually notice. Besides that, we see a really short skirt, and on the back, there's a lot of detail, which is something that also appeared in the 7 Deadly Sins series. Other than that, she's just wearing shoes. Here we see a black shoe, and here she has a white shoe. This is what makes Elizabeth, who we see is already one of the main characters along with Meliodas, always appearing by his side and being a key element for the 7 deadly sins and obviously for the captain. So here I'll leave you with the Elizabeth figure so you can check out all the details up close here on the Darkoburi channel. And now we've finally reached the end of this unboxing, so it's time for you to tell me which of the pieces you like the most. Personally, I'm still sticking with Ban from this Xtra Sumar piece. They're honestly really awesome. And just now, after seeing the close-ups of Elizabeth, I realized she's only wearing one earring. Check it out, she only has an earring on one ear, right here on this side. There are so many details you have to look for in all the pieces so you don't miss any of them. And they're true to what happens in the anime. Things you really notice when you do the unboxing and see the figure up close. Honestly, I hadn't noticed this before, but the Elizabeth figure also shows a lot of things that reflect what happens in the series. If you saw Dreyfus, who was one of the demons, one of the 10 commandments, he also looked pretty extravagant, but without going overboard. After all, this is still something for kids, so don't worry, there's nothing inappropriate. So go ahead, check out the 7 deadly sins. Remember, I'm Darkoburi the Collector. Not only do I collect collectible figures, but I also have a select collection of things like weapons, comics, autographs, and a ton of other stuff. If you want to see something from my collection, leave a comment about what you're interested in, maybe soccer. Or if you want to see something from artists like Chris Evans, just let me know in the comments. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to leave a super powerful like. And Darkoburi, peace out.